It's time to honor some of the great rock bands from England. Now we're talking bands that are considered English, prominent membership or classic lineups featuring English musicians, not British, which means greats like Queen, Cream, or Dire Straits that tend to be under the moniker of British bands won't be on this list. Iron Maiden. More than 40 years after forming, Maiden is still relevant, as was evident in the 2019's Legacy of the Beast Tour. One of the main forces within the British wave of heavy metal, Maiden's themes of world history, religion, and fantasy continue to play well to a new generation of rockers, and they're still pumping their fists to classics like The Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, and 2 Minutes to Midnight. And let's not forget their space in Stranger Things. Genesis. Sure, some old-school fans of the band might not fancy Genesis' path from innovative progressive rockers of the late 1969s and the 70s to a pop-light rock FM radio staple of the 80s and into the 90s, yet Genesis should probably be credited for adapting to the times while still not losing its creativity. Not to mention the group produced two of the most recognizable vocalists ever in Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins. The Cure. The melodic, often melancholy tunes of Robert Smith and the Boys have been on display and praised for more than 40 years. When it comes to the alternative and especially goth or post-punk rock sound of England, The Cure is the trendsetter and has not stopped doing it well. Throughout the world, hits like Just Like Heaven, Lullaby, or A Letter to Elise are just a few of the Hall of Famers' beloved efforts. Radiohead. From roughly 1995 to about 2002, there was arguably no hotter band on the planet than Radiohead. It got to the point that fans worldwide could not wait to hear what was next from Thorn York and Company. Radiohead went from a true rock outfit to excelling within the alternative and art rock scenes while also not being afraid to throw in some electronica. There is not a better run of albums with The Bends 1995, OK Computer 1997, Kid A 2000, and Amnesiac in 2001 in alternative rock or any genre history. Even today, Radiohead still has a major influence on the music scene. The Clash. While the Sex Pistols exuded the punk image, The Clash was also a major player in the overall scene in the UK. However, The Clash also defined its music with elements of new wave and ska that ushered in the post-punk sound, which was taking off on both sides of the Atlantic. Though singer Joe Strummer was born in Turkey, he was schooled in England from age 9, thus qualifying him enough for this list. The Kinks. Formed by brothers Ray and Davy Davies in North London, the Kinks were a major rock influence in the 1960s throughout England, the UK, and America. The band meshed the pop-rock feel of the British invasion with a bluesy tint that offered a unique sound that turned on the likes of the Ramones and the Doors, Van Halen, and Oasis. Black Sabbath. Under the blanket of rock and roll music lies heavy metal. It's generally acknowledged that the first true heavy metal band was Black Sabbath. Though influenced heavily in the blues, Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward played hard, often faced, and obviously heavy. Iommi's memorable riffs coupled with Osbourne's distinctive voice spewing general dark lyrics made Sabbath turn the rock world in its ears, and we're still grateful for it. Pink Floyd. The influence that Floyd has had on bands that have come after is truly incredible, whether psychedelic rock, progressive rock, alternative rock, and even some aspects of metal. Pink Floyd has been able to leave its mark with bands like Queensryche, Alice in Chains, Foo Fighters, and Pearl Jam, just to name a few. The band's 1973 smash, The Dark Side of the Moon, has spent more than 900 weeks on the Billboard charts over the years. The Who. Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend are still consistently playing under the Who name and not just doing the classics. However, songs like Baba O'Reilly and My Generation still stand up well and have become loved by a whole new generation of fans. The Who is also known as one of the great conceptual bands of all time, thanks to operatic rock gems Tommy and Quadrophenia. Led Zeppelin. While Black Sabbath and Deep Purple also influenced a hard guitar-driven sound that opened the door for the heavy metal movement, Zeppelin did it better than anybody. Paced by Robert Plant's incredible range, Jimmy Page's innovative guitar work, and John Bonham's hard-working style behind the drum kit, Zeppelin blues tinged hard rock has that time-tested classic sound that remains a staple to those who still listen to the music on the radio. Rolling Stones. Perhaps the most impressive thing about the Stones is the band's ridiculously longevity. This summer, Mick, Keith, Charlie, and Ronnie all went into their 70s, packed stadiums, playing the hits that have influenced generations of musicians and still do. And that is fitting since the band itself was influenced by the blues, gospel, and country and continues to branch out while still pressing on. The Beatles. The Beatles are really more than just John, Paul, George, and Ringo. The foursome is a musical institution that changed the landscape of the times and influenced countless other bands and artists. Seriously, too many to count. The Beatles' aura still has not waned, and surviving members Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr continue to make music and tour, playing the songs millions fell in love with more than 50 years ago.